A long time ago, there was an emperor who loved new clothes more than anything else. He spent all his money on clothes and didn't care about his soldiers or his duties. He wasn't interested in going to the theater or hunting unless it was a chance to show off his new outfits. The emperor had a different outfit for every hour of the day. While people usually say about a king, "He's in a meeting," about this emperor, they would say, "He's in his wardrobe." Life was lively in the emperor's capital city, and visitors came to his court every day. One day, two men arrived, calling themselves weavers. They claimed to make the most amazing fabrics with beautiful colors and intricate patterns. They also said these clothes were magical. They would be invisible to anyone who was not good at their job or was very foolish. These clothes must be incredible, thought the emperor. If I had a suit like that, I could find out who in my kingdom is unfit for their job and who is wise or foolish. I must have this fabric made for me immediately. He gave the weavers a large sum of money so they could start their work. The two men, who were actually tricksters, set up two looms and pretended to work hard. In reality, they did nothing. They asked for the finest silk and pure gold thread, which they secretly kept for themselves. They sat at the empty looms, pretending to weave, and worked late into the night. After a while, the emperor started wondering how the weavers were doing with the fabric. But then he remembered something. Only those who were clever and good at their jobs could see the cloth. What if I can't see it? He thought, feeling a bit nervous. To avoid the risk of embarrassing himself, he decided to send someone else to check on the weavers first. Everyone in the city had heard about the magical fabric, and they were curious to see who was wise and who wasn't. "I'll send my faithful old minister," the emperor decided after thinking it over. "He's very smart and perfect for his job. He'll surely be able to see the cloth." The loyal minister went to the hall where the two men were pretending to weave. They were working as if they were very busy, but the looms were completely empty. The minister opened his eyes wide, trying to see the cloth, but he couldn't see anything. "What does this mean?" he thought, confused. There's not a single thread on the looms. But he kept his thoughts to himself and didn't say anything out loud. The two tricksters politely invited the minister to come closer to their looms. They asked him if he liked the design and whether he thought the colors were beautiful. While they spoke, they pointed at the empty frames. The poor old minister stared and stared, but he couldn't see anything on the looms. And for a good reason, there was nothing there. "What?" thought the minister. "Could it be that I am a fool? I've never thought that about myself before. But I must not let anyone else think it. Am I unfit for my job? No. That can't be true either. I will never admit that I can't see the fabric." "Well, Sir Minister," said one of the tricksters, pretending to work hard, Don't you think the fabric is beautiful?" "Oh, it's excellent," the minister replied, peering at the loom through his glasses. "The pattern and the colors. Yes, I'll tell the emperor right away how beautiful I think they are." "We would be very grateful," said the tricksters. Then they described the colors and the pattern of the imaginary fabric in detail. The minister listened carefully so he could repeat everything to the emperor later. The tricksters then asked for more silk and gold, saying they needed it to finish their work. But instead of using the materials, they stuffed them into their bags. They kept pretending to work as diligently as before, even though the looms remained completely empty. The emperor decided to send another court official to check on the weavers and see if the cloth would soon be ready. This second official had the same experience as the minister. He looked carefully at the looms from all angles, but he saw nothing but empty frames. "Doesn't this fabric look as beautiful to you as it did to the minister?" asked the tricksters, repeating their gestures and talking about the colors and patterns that didn't exist. "I'm definitely not stupid," thought the second official. "So does this mean I'm not fit for my job? How strange, but I can't let anyone find out." So he also praised the fabric he couldn't see. He told the tricksters he loved the colors and the patterns and was very impressed. When he returned to the emperor, he said, "Your Majesty, the cloth the weavers are making is absolutely magnificent." The whole city was buzzing with talk about the incredible fabric the emperor had ordered. Everyone was curious to see it. Finally, the emperor decided to see the fabric for himself. He brought some of his trusted court officials with him, including the two who had already praised the cloth. When the tricksters heard that the emperor was coming, they pretended to work even harder, moving their hands quickly over the empty looms, but still not weaving a single thread. "Isn't the work amazing?" said the two officials to the emperor. "Your Majesty, just look at it. What a beautiful design! Such stunning colors!" They pointed at the empty frames, convinced that everyone else could see the fabric they couldn't. "What is this?" the emperor thought. "I can't see anything. This is a disaster. Am I foolish? Or worse, am I unfit to be an emperor?" "That would be terrible," but out loud he said, "Oh, this fabric is beautiful. I approve completely." He smiled kindly and stepped closer to the empty looms. There was no way he was going to admit that he couldn't see what his two officers had already praised so much. All the people with the emperor strained their eyes, trying to see something on the looms. But like the emperor, they couldn't see anything either. Still, they all exclaimed, "Oh, how beautiful!" and agreed that the emperor should have new clothes made from this wonderful fabric for the upcoming procession. "Magnificent! Amazing! Excellent!" voices said from all sides, and everyone seemed very cheerful. The emperor was just as happy as the others. He rewarded the tricksters by giving them a ribbon of knighthood to wear on their jackets and officially named them gentlemen weavers. The two tricksters worked all night before the day of the procession. They kept 16 candles burning to show how hard they were working to finish the emperor's new clothes. They pretended to roll the fabric off the looms, snipped the air with scissors, and sewed with needles that had no thread. Finally, they declared, "The emperor's new clothes are ready." The emperor and his most important court members went to see the weavers. The tricksters held their hands up as if carrying something and said, "Here are your Majesty's trousers. Here is the scarf. Here is the mantle. The whole outfit is as light as a spider's web. It's so light that you'll feel like you're wearing nothing at all, which is the special quality of this delicate fabric." "Yes, indeed," said all the courtiers, even though none of them could see anything. "If your Imperial Majesty would kindly take off your clothes, we will help you put on your new suit in front of the mirror," the tricksters said. The emperor undressed, and the tricksters pretended to dress him in his new clothes. They moved their hands as if they were putting something on him. The emperor turned from side to side, looking at himself in the mirror. "Look at how amazing His Majesty looks in his new clothes. They fit perfectly," everyone said. "What a fantastic design! What beautiful colors! These are truly royal robes. The canopy that will be carried above your Majesty during the procession is ready," announced the chief master of ceremonies. "I'm ready," said the emperor. "Do my new clothes fit well?" he asked as he turned around in front of the mirror, pretending to admire his elegant outfit. The lords of the bedchamber, who were responsible for carrying the emperor's long robe, moved their hands as if they were lifting the ends of the robe. They acted as though they were holding something heavy, even though there was nothing there. They didn't want anyone to think they were foolish or unfit for their jobs. The emperor then walked proudly under his grand canopy in the middle of the procession through the streets of his capital city. The people standing on the streets and at their windows cheered loudly, saying, "Oh, look at the emperor's new clothes! How beautiful they are! What a magnificent robe he has, and how perfectly the scarf hangs!" No one dared to admit that they couldn't see the clothes. If they did, they would have to admit they were either foolish or unworthy of their jobs. In fact, none of the emperor's previous outfits had ever impressed the people as much as these invisible ones. "But the emperor isn't wearing anything," said a little child. "Listen to the voice of innocence," exclaimed the child's father. Soon, what the child had said started spreading in whispers from one person to the next. "He's not wearing anything," the crowd began shouting. The emperor felt embarrassed and upset because he knew the people were right. But he thought to himself, the procession must continue. So he held his head high and kept walking, even though he felt ashamed. The lords of the bedchamber pretended even more than before to hold up the long robe, although in truth there was no robe at all.